Good afternoon and welcome to Murdoch Stadium as Kids in Sports and Channel America present the National High School Game of the Week. It's the Los Angeles City Reebok Football Championships as the Banning Pilots take on the Dorsey Dons. Hello everybody, I'm Ken Kitchen here today with Bruce Sigmund as we bring you what we think is going to be a great high school football matchup. The two best teams in the city are meeting. They didn't play each other on November 1st because Banning decided to forfeit the game rather than show up to play Dorsey at Dorsey's home field. We're just about ready for the opening kickoff as the Dons are going to kick off to the Pilots. The Dons in the dark green jerseys with the white letters. The Pilots in the white jerseys with the red letters. Omar Moreno set to kick it for the Dons. Back number 1, Shazar Hawkins, to receive the kick along with number 22, Chris Smith. Hawkins, well, he is the man for the Pilots. We'll get to his stats as the game wears on. It's going to take about a quarter to list them all. Suffice to say, he's rushed for 1,716 yards and 23 touchdowns this year. And Bruce, we could have a really good football game here today.
Well, I think so. We've got two strengths going against each other, Ken. Both are power ground offensive teams.
Hawkins has it across the 27-yard line. He's brought down by Larry Bobo, and the Pilots will take over on offense. Setting the offensive set now for the Pilots, the number 1 team in the city, but the number 3 team seated in the playoffs because of that one forfeit. Hawkins the tailback, Larry Rayford the fullback, Andre Favi the quarterback. The wideouts, Jimmy Legaspi and Chris Smith. We'll set the offensive line in just a moment. First and 10 Pilots from the 27-yard line. Hawkins split out to the bottom of your screen. And we have a penalty on the first offensive play of the game, Bruce.
Boy, that sure isn't the way to start the game. I think it's probably due to a little bit of nervousness.
We have a delay of game on the white. It'll say first down.
So a little bit of a tricky offensive set there for the Pilots. And we're going to set the offensive line now. The tackles, Fabi Tumilati, Ernie Gambata. The guards, Aaron Bryce and Gary DeGuzman. The center, Anthony Barragan. A group that's blocked for 1,716 yards for their tailback, Shazar Hawkins. Hawkins split out as receiver again. It's another long count. Rayford in motion. They get it to Hawkins. And Hawkins is going to be stopped after a gain of about 2-yard line. Nice gang tackling there by the Dons.
Well, what you want to do in a screen like that is to try and decoy the defense, Ken, and in that instance, I think they gave it away right away, and as a consequence, the Dorsey Dons were able to swarm to the tackle.
Is your mic hooked in?
Sets up a 2nd and 13, gain of 2 on the play.
Double stick,
We'll set the Don defense after this play. Both defenses very stingy, giving up just 10 points a game. Favi under center. Runs the option. Hawkins with the pitch, and he's going to be driven out of bounds at the 31. And a little extra hit there on the sidelines. The official make no call.
That's a Pilots option offense that we've been told to look out for. The quarterback takes the ball down the line and then, of course, has to make a decision as to whether or not he can go to the outside man. In that case, he did a good job of it, and that's a real pressure on the defensive end that comes across, and he's got to make a decision. He's got to force the inside.
The defense for the Dons, Alan Moody, Monterio Weatherspoon, and Dwayne Sanders make out the line. You might notice Sanders there, number 87. He's 6'6", 230 pounds. Maybe playing for the Don basketball team after football season ends. We'll set the backers in the backs in a moment. Third play, it's going to fall incomplete, and the Pilots will have to punt. Good defense there by number 9 for the Dons, Sean Sloan.
Fourth down.
In that case, it looked like he had an opening there, but good defensive play as he came in and closed down.
All right, Green, now stay off this kicker. Don't hit him
just to get in his way. I think if the pass would have been a little bit lower, it probably would have been completed.
Back to return the punt for the Dons is number 6, number 6, Antonio Carrion. We talked about him in the pregame show. He's broke a couple for touchdowns this year. Also has a 74-yard touchdown reception.
Well, Carrion's the one that had 270 yards last game against Silmar in both receiving and returning, Ken, and he's certainly a dangerous threat every time he gets his hand on the ball.
Calls for a fair catch at the 32-yard line, and now the Dons will take over on offense. Let's set them up. The quarterback, Damon Williams. The tailback, Sharman Shaw. The fullback, Brian Benbow. We talked about them in the open. The wideouts, Marcel Myers and Antonio Carrion, who just had that fair catch. The line, Santonio Turo, Norman Yesaguri, Henry Amos, the center. The right guard, Byron Kimbrough. The right tackle, Cedric White. Larry Bobo, the tight end. Watch out for him. We'll set the defense for the Pilots in a minute. 1st and 10 for the Dons at the 32-yard line. Hand off to Shaw. He slips on the turf. Gains about 2 on the play.
Well, you know, I walked that field a little bit before the game started, Ken, and I saw that the turf is a little bit choppy out there. I don't think it's wet, but it's not as firm as it might be, and I think that especially these fast tailbacks may have some trouble running this game today.
Setting the defense for the Pilots, Junior Togai, Tawan Hall, Naeem Mills, Jimmy Irby on the line. The backers, Nestor McKenna, Robert Padilla, the middle backer, Jason Grayson on the outside. 2nd and 8 for the Dons. 9:50 to go in the first quarter, just underway, no score. And Shaw slips again, but he gains about 5 on the play.
Well, I think that's due to the offensive line charge. They got underneath the defensive line at that time and opened up a path for the running back. But he's so quick that his slashing style of running is going to hurt him perhaps if he continues to slip.
Hollifield and Smith, the corners for the Pilots. The safety, Brandon Moore, the free safety, Shazar Hawkins. He plays just about every play of the game. Big number 1 back there in the defensive backfield for the Pilots. 3rd down and 5 now. Considered a passing down, but for these Dons, 5 yards a carry is not a whole lot. They do pass. Complete and drop by Carrion. On the coverage for the Pilots was Sean Hollifield. It's going to be a punt for the Dons.
I think that's just a case of running with the ball before you have it in your hands, and otherwise that ball was certainly catchable. It was right, in fact, in his hands, and should have had that ball, and he probably would have been able to get the 1st down.
Back to field the punt, Brandon Moore. Carrion back to punt for the Dons. Moore standing at his own 25-yard line. It's a low kick. Moore takes it at the 27. He's brought down at the 41. There's a fumble on the play. Let's see if it was whistled dead. Could be a big turnover early in this game. Looks like Banning has fallen on the ball. Johnny on the spot that time. Tawan Hall recovers for the Pilots.
Well, in that case, it's such a short kick, Ken. If they wanted to set up any kind of a wall and a picket fence for running that return back, they didn't have a chance to do it.
So the Pilots with their 2nd possession of the game. The first time they had the ball, it was 3 plays and out. They take over at the 24-yard line. No score here. 8:45 left to go in the first quarter. It's the City 4A Championship game of Los Angeles. Hand off to Hawkins. He's met in the backfield. Ball squirts loose, but the ball was whistled dead. Big play there by the defensive tackle, the big man, Dwayne Sanders.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of tough play from that defensive line. You know, this team held the top running back, Tobias Brookins, for Silmar last week, though only 22 yards and 16 carries.
Well, that's a good defensive effort, and it takes the whole team to do something like that. And that's what both these two teams do. They play great team defense, and they have great individual players. 2nd down and 11 now for the Pilots. Legaspi and Moore set to the bottom of the screen. Hand off to Hawkins. He's met in the backfield. And guess who? Dwayne Sanders, the leading tackler on this Don team.
Well, we wondered if, in fact, that this defensive front line from Dorsey was going to be able to do the same thing they've done all along.
Sanders seems to be down on the play, Bruce.
Well, he was about to get up, and his trainers got him back down. Just as a precautionary measure, perhaps he may have gotten the wind knocked out of him. We don't want to speculate at this point.
Okay, Bruce, we're going to take this opportunity to take a short pause. We'll be back with the score. 0-0, 7:43 in the first quarter. considering the circumstances, we're doing pretty good. Carl's going to hand us numbers through here.
Let's go, White. Let's go.
He walked off the field, right?
All right, quarterback, I'm going to
okay.
wind this clock. Here we go.
Can Heather report on his condition? Can Heather report on his condition for us? We're back 3rd and 13. Favi's scrambling, trying to get first down yardage. He's going to be tackled about 5 yards shy. No receivers open downfield, Bruce. Good coverage by the Don secondary.
Yeah, I think that's what, in fact, stopped the play, but there was a great ball handling effort on part of the quarterback, Favi Tuau. He did a great job in faking the ball up the middle, and then on a rollout was free for a while, and did a great job of shaking off the defender in order to attempt to throw the pass down the field. But as you said, Ken, the coverage stopped that play.
So Gabe Sadi stays on the field to do the punting. Antonio Carrion stands at his 36-yard line, waiting to receive the second punt of the game. It's a good snap.
It's gone!
Carrier lets the ball bounce in front of him. It's a great pilot bounce, and now it's rolling inside the 20-yard line all the way down to the 18. So Sadi gets a friendly roll on the play.
No question about that. I think we're going to have a low line drive kick like we have in so many instances. That's what's going to happen. And the smart thing to do for the ball carrier in that instance, Antonio Carrion, is just to let the ball go. You don't want to try and handle it like that.
We had a fumble by Banning on that last punt. They recovered their own fumble, but in a game like this with the two teams so evenly matched, turnovers always important.
Well, I think so. I mean, this could be a defensive struggle because of the strength of both defenses.
6:17 in the first quarter, no score. Damon Williams, the quarterback. The split back handoff goes to Brian Benbow. Benbow gets across the 20, out to the 24-yard line. The Dons controlling the line of scrimmage early on.
Well, it looks like it. Even their offensive line, bulk up there up front is doing a job on the defensive lineman, and sure opened up a hole in that case for the running back.
The line has some good size. Turner goes 6'1", 290. Isaguri 6'1", 220. He's the baby of the group. Henry Amos 5'11", 240. Brian Kimbrough 6'3", 280. And Cedric White 6'3", 260. So they've got some beef up there. Sharmon Shaw dots the I. 2nd and 4. Pass might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage, intended for Carrion. Brandon Moore on the coverage.
It may have been tipped, but that's what you call your timing pattern, and the quarterback actually threw the ball to a spot and expected Carrion to be there. They've worked together so much, the quarterback and the wide receiver, that they should be able to make that play. But I think he had to hurry the ball, and that's exactly why, in fact, Carrion didn't have enough time to get to the spot that he threw it to.
That was Chris Smith on the coverage. I stand corrected. He had a great game against Carson in the regular season. 7 solo tackles, including one at the end of the game that was very important to sealing that victory. In the playoffs they played, and Banning won by 20, but that regular season contest was a close one. Shaw with the handoff on 3rd and short. He's going to be tackled shy of the first down at the 27-yard line. It may be a measurement situation. It's very close.
Well, Cedric White was out there on the block and was trying to open a hole for him. He sure is a big guy at 6'3", 260. He's a senior this year, so he's playing his last game for the Dorsey Dons.
We're going to take another short pause as we have a timeout on the field. 5:13 left to go, no score.
They got the yardage. Measurement shows that they've got a first down. They're going to continue.
All right, get your chain set, Chuck. Here we go.
It's the first time, Ken, we haven't had an exchange with the ball after three downs.
First down of the game. Checking into the game, Kevin Rayburn. He's split out at the near side. Carry on at the top of the screen on the far side. Handoff goes to Shaw, and Shaw once again lost his footing. He's done that 3 times now. Falling on top of him for the Banning Pilots was Robert Padilla.
Well, I think they're going to have to recognize that Shaw's having trouble with his footing. I don't know if he can change shoes or get out of the middle of the field, but you can see if you look to the middle of the field, that's where it's all chewed up. And the way he runs in that slashing style, he's going to continue to fall down because there's some holes being opened up on the left side of the line there for him by his offensive lineman.
Witherspoon checking out of the game. Coming in to replace him, it looks like Jewel Oliver on the line. Shaw in motion. Now he's a receiver. It's a pass to Carrion behind the line of scrimmage. It's complete. Carrion out across the 35, and he's marked out at the 36-yard line, 2 yards shy of the first down. On the coverage, Chris Smith.
Well, that's that's a setup play to get Carrion the ball one-on-one with the cornerback out there, and that's exactly what they did. And sure enough, he was able to evade that initial tackle and gain the yardage that he did, almost coming up with the first down.
One of the great things about the Don offense, of course, and opposing coaches have pointed this out, is they have multiple weapons. They can send Shaw in motion away from where the play is going to go as a decoy and then complete a pass to Carrion like that, and it picks up 7-8 yards for you. Actually, it was first down yardage.
Even Brian Benbow's a major factor for them.
He's come on strong lately. Handoff is to Benbow. He gets the call off the right guard, falls forward for about 2 yards on the play, brought down by the linebacker, Junior Tagai.
Benbow's a tough little kid. He's 5'7", 170 pounds, but he is built solidly. And as we've noted, he's come on strong lately, Ken. He had a career high of 11 carries for 179 yards in their semifinal matchup against Sylmar last week. So you can't just key on Shaw. And, as a matter of fact, because Benbow's a little bit closer to the ground, he may have a better time holding his footing.
3:35 left to go in the first quarter of play. Still no score, but the Dons, well, a mini drive. They've had 2 first downs, and now we're going to have a penalty flag. Could be delay a game. The referees today, Jack Roberts, Lawrence Jarman, Charles Harrison, Judson Howard, and Joe Sanchez. The referee is Jack Roberts.
It might be an opportune time at this point, Ken, to note that Banning has a 4-1 edge in games that have been played since 1987, and they're seeking their first city title since 1985.
Banning, of course, always in the hunt for the title. We'll detail that a little bit later as the game goes on. Handoff to Shaw. Shaw keeps his footing this time on his own, but unfortunately for him, brought down by Robert Padilla from his inside linebacker spot.
Well, again, I think he's struggling back there. I saw him take that first step, and sure enough, his right foot went out from under him, Ken. It might have been obscured a little bit by the defensive rush, but he's going to continue to have trouble. He's going to have to make some kind of an adjustment. We're just not going to see the great running back that we've seen. I mean, Sherman Shaw's 179 carries for 1,431 yards and 15 touchdowns.
Clock winding down. It's a 3rd and 12, 2:55 in the first quarter, no score. Here's a chance for Damon Williams to prove his worth as a passer. He gets good protection, looking downfield for Carrion. Carrion had to turn around. Chris Smith on the good coverage on the play.
Pass was just a little bit overthrown, as you see, but I like the arm strength of Williams, and it's just a little bit overthrown. Otherwise, it would have been a completion.
It's going to bring a 4th and 12.
Carrion did have the defensive backs beat on that double coverage.
Carrion, one of the only weapons so far to be used successfully for the Dons, but both schools pretty much feeling each other out, so to speak. It's been a pretty quiet first quarter. Kick falls untouched and bounces back towards the Dorsey side of the field. And it's going to be down at the 42 of the Banning Pilots, their best field position of the first quarter.
I think that maybe Carrion is feeling a little bit the effects of being involved in so many of the plays and wasn't able to get off much of a kick. That could be the difference in the ball game. As a coach indicated to us that Paul Knox likes to play field position. He wants his defense to get him field position. He likes to play ball control. That's his style of football.
Banning notorious for starting slow. Their own coaches will admit that. Hawkins had 3 TDs in the 4th quarter last week. Bobby looking to pass. He has to scramble now, and he's going to be across midfield. Brought down at the 40-yard line inside Don territory. Tackled by Robert Beard. Also in from a safety spot, Danny White.
Well, Favi's got the size to match up the running backs here. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's only a junior. He's got good quickness and good running style, as you saw just there. And he could be a difference. In fact, during the regular season, he rushed for 345 yards and 8 touchdowns. So if their pass attack breaks down here, then he certainly could be a major weapon as far as the running game is concerned.
And, of course, he's always a threat as an option, too, on that quarterback option play. 1st and 10 for the Pilots. Pitch to Hawkins. Hawkins gets it outside. And he's all the way inside the 20. That's the longest play from scrimmage for either team so far in the first quarter. Dragged out of bounds by Gali Wadood.
Well, I think it's interesting to note that even the coach said that they kind of plug along, 3 yards and 5 yards, and then all of a sudden they'll break one for 20 or 30, and that's exactly what you had in this case when, Shazar Hawkins went outside and he showed his great speed and was able to get around the corner.
So he's actually marked out of bounds at the 23-yard line, gain of 17. Clock stops at 1:40 now in the quarter. The first legitimate threat for either team of this afternoon. Hand off to Hawkins. He eludes Sanders, and he breaks free into the secondary. He's inside the 10, brought down at the 6-yard line. Hawkins running amok here on this drive.
Well, he's got not only great speed, but he's got great power, and what he did, he just ran through the grasp of Dwayne Sanders, and I'm surprised that the linebackers just couldn't cover any sooner on that. They've got to do that. They can't expect their defensive line to make all the tackles. And we were told that maybe it's, in fact, that Dorsey Don's defensive backfield was a little bit suspect. And fortunately, they did make the touchdown-saving tackle.
Dons have their goal line defense set. Kimbrough comes in to replace Norman Beavers. That adds about 100 pounds to the lineup. Hawkins on the pitch, the power sweep, and he's in for the score. So the Pilots draw first blood. They take a 6-0 lead with 1:12 left to go in the first quarter.
Again, you got the power and speed of Shazar Hawkins, and he could really be the difference. You know, it's interesting to see whether or not Dorsey's going to be able to do what they did last week when they shut down Tobias Brookins, 16 carries for 22 yards. It looks like maybe that the offensive line here is, for the Banning Pilots is a better team than what Dorsey faced last week in Sylmar.
Doing the kicking for the Pilots, Jaime Torres. The regular kicker, Victor Garcia, broke his collarbone 2 weeks ago. Torres playing in his second varsity game. It's a fake, and it's going to be a 2-point conversion. A trick play works as Larry Rayford catches the pass out of the backfield. Pilots lead at 8-0.
Excellent play on the point after touchdown there. I think that a lot of high school teams, will certainly run or, in fact, fake on a point after because they're uncertain about the accuracy of their kicker. And as you indicate, that this is a replacement kicker, so they really couldn't be confident enough in him. And they want to go ahead and see if they can do that the first touchdown of the game.
And we'll be right back. Pilots lead at 8-0. So we'll be right back. Yeah. If he says that.
I heard that.
We're back here. Murdoch Stadium on the College of El Camino Junior College in Torrance, California, where the Banning Pilots have taken an 8-0 lead over the Dorsey Dons. It's the LA City Reebok Championships for the 1991 4A football season. Ken Kitchen along with Bruce Singman as Kids in Sports and Channel America bring you this pretty decent football game. It's the two best teams in the city, and the Wilmington Banning Pilots have taken an 8-0 lead.
Which is a little bit of a change for them, Ken, because as we've been noting, they have a history of slow starting and usually come on in the second half when Shazar Hawkins explodes.
That can't be too good news for Dorsey Dons followers. It's a short kickoff taken at the 15-yard line. Spinning around is Michael Bradfield, the up man. He's the senior wideout. He's brought down at the 24-yard line. What are the Dorsey Dons going to have to do right now, Bruce, to possibly get some offense going?
Well, I think they've got a problem with Sharman Shaw and his footing out there in the field. They're going to probably have to go in a different direction and maybe even try and throw the ball. I think Carrion's got the speed to get downfield. He showed that last time on that long pass play.
The Pilot backfield, defensive backfield, is very good. Brandon Moore, Shazar Hawkins, the safeties, Chris Smith and Sean Hollifield. Smith has 2 interceptions on the season. He's their best cover man. Hand off to Shaw. He eludes the first tackler, brought down at the 28-yard line. We have a late flag on the play. On the tackle for the Pilots was Jimmy Irby off his defensive tackle spot.
I don't think he had any running room out there at all. I think that the defensive line did a good job of closing down and allowed the linebackers to move along the line of scrimmage and make the stop.
As we said at the top of the show, these two teams very similar to each other. They have the dominant eye back. They have great defenses. They have big guys, well-coached teams. And in a game like this, you can't afford to have penalties, especially personal foul penalties, when your back gets his first long run of the game.
No, you've got to avoid all the mistakes, especially in a game like this, a championship caliber game. And both these teams are, are very tense. It's interesting to note that the Banning defense held Carson and Kennedy in their last two games to just 200 yards total offense. So this may be shades of things to come throughout the course of this game, Ken.
An interesting quote from San Pedro's coach, Mike Walsh. San Pedro played both teams. He says this of Banning: their secondary hits harder than any high school team I've ever seen. When we got a running back through an open hole, I was actually scared he would get hurt. I've never been scared before, but I was that night. Those are some strong words.
Well, that's for sure, especially coming from a high school coach.
Second down and 20 yards to go. Benbow cuts it outside, doesn't see anything up the middle, and he squirts through to the 23-yard line. Got a lot out of nothing there.
No, there was a mix-up in the backfield on the beginning of the play, and he just ran for his life in that instance. And, of course, the Banning defense was able to swarm to the sideline and make the stop. I see a lot of hand tackling out there, though. I'm surprised at that, and I think if that keeps up, I think you're going to see some of these great running backs break some plays.
So that's the end of the first quarter of play with the score Wilmington Banning 8 and Dorsey nothing. We'll take a short pause and be right back.
What do you think? Is that okay? She's going to take it?
At the end of the half.
We don't.
We're back to start the second quarter of play. Dorsey trying to get untracked on offense. It's 3rd and 11. Shaw, the lone setback. He gained 1,440 yards in the first 12 games of the season. Pretty good numbers. Scrambling in the backfield, Damon Williams. He drops the ball as he's tackled, and Banning takes over at the 12-yard line. Did not see who recovered the ball. It may have been number 24, the defensive back, Sean Hollifield. Big play for the Pilots.
In that
Excuse
case,
me, it was Naeem Mills, the nose guard.
You know, in that case, you got a coverage sack. I mean, and boy, when the quarterback sees that he can't get the ball downfield, he has got to put it away. I think there's just too many instances, and it's not just in high school football, Ken, but you see it in college and especially professional football. You think by that time, they'd hold on to that ball.
Well, here's an opportunity for the Banning Pilots to really break it open here early in the second quarter. They're a slow starting team. They already have 8 points. They're trying to add on. Hawkins wrapped up in the backfield. Great play by Winfred Samuels. Winfred coming in from the cornerback spot just surrounded Hawkins and brought him down for about a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, the cornerback's got to play it tough. I mean, he's out there to certainly cover for the pass, but you kind of know that, they're going to go with Sharmon Shaw and that outside sweep, and that cornerback did exactly what he had to do. He came up right away, didn't hesitate. In fact, I meant Shazar Hawkins in that instance.
Clock running, 11 minutes in the half, 8-0 Pilot lead. Hawkins the lone back. It's a fake pitch, and looking, it's intercepted. A big play for the Don defense. Norman Beavers comes up with the interception, brings the ball out to the 29-yard line. That's his second interception of the year, Bruce. The first one he ran back 85 yards.
Well, that ball just shouldn't have been thrown. I mean, in the way that he did. I mean, he threw it on a rope, and there was no way it was going to get through to the receiver, who was wide open in the end zone, though. All he had to do is put a little air onto that ball, and it would have been a completion and a touchdown. That's the kind of mistake that's just going to break your back. Like you said, Ken, they had a chance to break the game wide open, and they threw it away, literally.
So Beavers picks up his bench. You see the players on the sidelines responding. The Dorsey fans just below us here on the east side of the Murdoch Stadium on their feet after that play. So the Dons take over on offense again. 1st and 10 from their 26-yard line. Trying to figure out this Banning Pilot defense. Naeem Mills, one of the better players you'll see in the city of Los Angeles this year. He goes 6'4", 297. He had 2 sacks, 25 tackles, and 1 interception. But that's a lot when you consider he's the nose guard.
You know, it looked like he was going to go all the way with that interception. Ernie Gamboa was the one that made the stop on that. It was a great tackle to stop them where they were.
Fake to Shaw. Williams looking for Antonio, and Carrion has the ball tipped away at the last minute. That was a great play there by Chris Smith.
Yeah, that's an outstanding play by the cornerback in that instance, because it was just one-on-one out there against Carrion, who's a great receiver. And, you know, he took a chance. I mean, if he didn't get that ball, then Carrion had it, and he was gone for a touchdown. There was no help whatsoever out there. The safeties were caught up in the middle of the field.
Damon Williams with decent passing numbers this year, 37 of 98 for 938 yards, 8 touchdowns. But he hasn't really had a lot of luck here in this first half. That time, Carrion was open, but it was a great play from Chris Smith to bat the ball away. 2nd and 10, fake pass, handoff to Benbow. He gets a great block from his receiver, and Benbow's out past the midfield line inside Pilot territory to the 48. Marcel Myers with a nice block on a linebacker to spring Benbow that time.
Yeah, Shazar Hawkins demonstrated his athletic skill. He's not only a great running back, but, you know, he's been playing that free safety spot, and he came over and made the stop. And had he not gotten over that quickly and used the sideline as a defensive edge there, I think Benbow would have been gone for the score.
10 minutes left in the half. It's the first time the Dons have been in Banning territory here this afternoon. Hand off to Shaw. He breaks the tackle at the 40. He's inside the 35, tackled out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Brought down by Sean Hollifield, and the Dons are moving the ball.
You know, that instance, you know, Shaw just does, you know, everything that he really can do. He's got that great power and great speed, and this time he kept his footing and was able to break tackles and make a lot of that yardage on his own.
Shaw held in check by the field mostly in the first quarter, starting to break out a little bit here early in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Dons at the 29-yard line, we'll call it. Shaw and Benbow in the backfield with the quarterback, Damon Williams. Hand off to Shaw, same play as last time. Shaw hurdles a tackler. He's inside the 15, brought down at the 13 by Brandon Moore.
Boy, that offensive line just decimated those players. Did you see number 67, Byron Kimbrough, the right guard?
And Kimbrough firing up the crowd there with the Arsenio woo-woo-woo chant.
Ken, he just did what we referred to as a pancake block. I mean, he just put that defensive player on his back and almost in the ground as he led the charge and led the way.
1st and 10 from the 13. That means the Dons, of course, can get a first down at the 3-yard line should they need it. Hand off to Shaw. This time he's going across the right side. He's tackled inside the 10-yard line. Brought down on the play by number 42, Tawan Hall.
Well, it's another case of just showing this great running game that they've had all season long. And they've got the different weapons to do it, and they're using both of their running backs, in Sharmon Shaw and Brian Benbow.
.9:05 left to go in the half. 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Shaw picked up 5. He's done it on this drive following the Norman Beavers interceptions. 9 carries, 56 yards for Shaw. Carl Hurt doing the stats for us this afternoon. 2nd and 5. Shaw gets the call again. He's inside the 5, and he's inside the goal line. Touchdown, Dons.
Well, he ran over that big side of the, you know, left side of the line, Ken, and Norman Isakuri and Santorio Turner. You got a couple of big front linemen. I mean, Turner goes at 6'1", 290. He's a senior this year, and Isakuri is at 6'1", 220. He's also a senior, and they just led the ball carrier right up the field for the score.
So the Dorsey Dons dominating at the line of scrimmage. and it looks like Dorsey may be calling a timeout. They want to decide what to do. It could be a close game, Bruce. Every extra point could be critical. We'll take a short break and come back.
I can't believe it. With all this running and very little passing, this game's going to be over before we know it.
Time. A drive went 6 plays, 74 yards, a minute 57 off the clock. Sharman Shaw with a 9-yard touchdown run. And the Dons are going to go for 2. Shaw dots the I. Benbow, the fullback. They fake it to Shaw, and it's going to be incomplete to the back of the end zone, trying for Michael Boston. And it's going to be 8-6 in favor of Banning.
Michael Boston's their, backup tight end to Larry Bobo, and I think that the play was well conceived, and he was wide open in the end zone, corner of the end zone for the reception, but just dropped the ball. That could loom very large as this game goes on, Ken. As you indicated, it certainly could be a close game, and well, those 2 points could really make a difference.
Of course, the key to that whole drive, as Boston gets some reassurance from his teammates, was Norman Beavers, the interception at the 5-yard line. Banning had a chance to take a 2-touchdown lead after that fumble by Williams, but Norman Beavers comes out with the interception, then gets a nice run back, and the offensive line and Shaw take over, take it in for the score.
Yeah, and I think that you got to realize that Brian Benbow is going to be a force in this game. I mean, he's got great quickness and good speed. I mean, and he had a real important carry during the course of that drive. And Banning's going to have to be aware of him as well as Carry-On and Sharman Shaw as well.
Omar Moreno set to kick it off. Hawkins and Chris Smith back to receive the kick. They're standing at the 9. No wind at all today. It's a beautiful afternoon here in Southern California. And let's face it, they all are. But back to the football game. Smith takes it at the 5-yard line, brings it out past the 30 to the 35, and I think we had a fumble on the play. Let's see what the referee says. Jack Roberts, the man in the white hat, sorting things out. And Banning comes up with the ball. Number 27, Dorsey comes up with the ball, Ron McNair for the Dons, the senior quarterback on the special teams.
That's just inexcusable. I mean, you're just not going to be able to, to prevail if you continue to have mistakes.
We have an illegal block on the run back, on the white. It will be declined. First down.
So talk about your changes in momentum, Bruce. 2 minutes ago, Banning has the ball on the 10-yard line. They're driving for a 14-0 lead. Now all of a sudden, Dorsey has the ball back. It's 8-6. They could score another touchdown.
Well, I think you're going to see that, Ken, with 2 outstanding, offensive and defensive teams. You're going to see the momentum shift back and forth. It's just a matter of one little play is going to change the game.
Sharman Shaw, 10 carries for 64 yards and 1 touchdown. We're 8 minutes and 19 seconds away from halftime. Reverse to Carry-On. And Carry-On tripped up by the Pilots' Jimmy Irby. Jimmy Irby was not tricked on that play, and yet Carry-On still gained 7.
Well, I loved the way that Jimmy Irby stayed in that play. I mean, he had to. He was blocked out, as a matter of fact, all the way outside here, and was able to get back and make that play from the behind. Otherwise, there still would have been a few more yards gained on that particular play. You got to give it to him. Jimmy Irby, 6'2", 197-pound senior, and he leads the team in sacks, and it's because of his quickness and speed. And, boy, he sure demonstrated it on that play.
2nd and 4. Banning leads at 8-6, 7:40 left to go in the half. Shaw gets the handoff, and the ball pops loose 10 feet in the air. Damon Williams heads up play, picks up the ball. Loss of about 7 on the play. That ball went up 15 feet in the air, Bruce.
Well, that's a case of the the helmet or shoulder pads just in fact hitting the ball as the defensive tackler hit the ball carrier. I almost thought the ball might have been caught in the air, but that was just a lucky bounce for the Dons as Damon Williams came up with the recovery.
Brandon Moore, Tawan Hall, Sean Hollifield, Shazar Hawkins, they are all hard hitters. 3rd and 13, clock running at 6:55. Marcel Myers split out wide. Now in motion, Larry Bobo. Fake pass, handoff to Benbow. Fake to Benbow. Carry on with the touchdown. 2 fakes on the play. They fake out the announcer, and they score 6.
It's just a great bit of ball handling by Damon Williams. You know, in fact, as you indicated, Ken, you thought that maybe he had given the ball off to Benbow after he made his initial fake, and that just allowed just enough room for the, you know, to freeze the defensive backs. Thought they, you know, that the ball was going to be run up the middle, and Carry On with his great speed just got behind a defender and was able to make the reception. Even though he turned around, it looked like maybe he was going to get caught out of position.
So a great play call by the Don coaching staff. And the Dons are going to go for 2 again. They lead it 12-8 now. Damon Williams, his 9th touchdown pass of the year. And the handoff goes to the backup, Johnny Holman, but he's tackled short of the goal line. So 6:39 left in the half. We're going to take a short pause. The Dorsey Dons lead it 12-8.
Nobody. Here, Jermaine Gibson.
We're back. That Dorsey drive took just 3 plays, gained 34 yards, 1:56 off the clock, the 37-yard touchdown pass from Williams to Carry On. And here's the short kick, picked up at the 15. Chris Smith takes it, cuts it up the middle. He's got open field in front of him, and he's going to go down inside the 20, tackled at the 10-yard line.
Well, Chris Smith just ran out of gas at the end of that run. Otherwise, he would have gone all the way because he had outrun the defenders. You know, you notice that time as he ran through the middle of the field, Ken, he covered up the ball with both hands to make sure he wasn't going to fumble again like he did last time. He has a kind of a lazy way of getting started with that because he's picking out his path, and I'm not so sure that's exactly the way to do it. I think if he took the ball and just went up, you know, with all the speed he had from the very beginning, he might break a few more of those. But it was successful for him that time.
Got a great block from Gary DeGuzman on the run back at midfield. DeGuzman just took out the kicker, Moreno. Pilots set up 1st and goal. They're going to call it 1st and 10 from the 10. Andre Favi takes it up the middle on the keeper, picks up 5. He's down at the 6-yard line.
In that case, they're using the size and the strength and speed of the quarterback just to test the middle of that line.
Well, Bruce, as is often the case, the announcers come in hyping up the defenses. What happens? It's a high-scoring affair.
Well, I didn't want to make any predictions when we started this game. You know, I mean, we could have said it was going to be a defensive struggle, or with these offenses, there could have been an explosive ball game, and looks like that's what we're getting.
Looks like we're getting a good one either way. 5:30 left to go in the half. Pilots threatening to take the lead. Hawkins with the handoff. He's hit at the 2-yard line and powers his way inside the 1. It may be a 1st down. Maybe 3rd and short, maybe a 1st down and goal. It will be 1st and goal.
I think what you saw there, Ken, was just a great bit of running by Shazar Hawkins. I mean, he just eluded all the defenders on his own because I don't think there was much of a hole open up for him there. He was breaking at least 2 tackles as he went through that defensive line.
They're going to take a measurement now, and the officials do say it is a 1st down and goal.
You know, Shazar Hawkins only needed 46 yards to break Stanley Wilson's record coming into this game.
Well, Carl Hertz adding up the stats. When we come back, we'll tell you if he's broken Stanley Wilson's record. After this pause, Dorsey leads it 12-8. Winfred
Samuels.
Get a look at the Pilot band. Wilmington banning. If you guess who's going to be in the city finals every year, and you had your guess, and you guessed Wilmington banning, you wouldn't be too far off. They've won the city championship 10 times. They finished second 7 times. So they're in it just about every year. Of course, they're usually playing Carson. They're crosstown rivals. This year they're playing the Dorsey Dons. They're new rivals.
Well,
Things got a little heated up in the past 2 years between these two schools. We started out this game with Hawkins going in from 4 yards, giving Wilmington banning an 8-zip lead. Then Sharmon Shaw took it in from 13 for the 8-6 to cut it to 8-6. Williams to carry on made it 12-8. And now Banning's threatening to go back ahead. The Dorsey Dons say, no, we stopped you on the 1st and goal play.
Well, this is where it gets a little bit tougher, obviously, at this particular point in the field. And they've got to be, I think, a little bit clever with respect to what offensive plays they're going to run to get into the end zone.
Ball is on the 1-foot line. Our public address announcer tells us it may actually be on about the 9-inch line. It's pretty close to being a touchdown. 2nd and goal to go. Clock running at 4:52. Dorsey leads it 12-8. The big fullback into the game, Jason Grayson, 5'11", 195. And it looks like it's going to be a touchdown for the Pilots.
It looked like a broken play, Ken. I don't think that was meant to be. The quarterback looked like he just missed the handoff there and was able, fortunately, to just take the ball and convert for the touchdown.
Andre Favi takes it in. Gives Banning a 14-12 lead. They can add the point after touchdown. Last time they converted a 2-pointer. This time, let's see what they'll do. Jaime Torres, the kicker. They faked it last time. Passing to Rayford for the conversion. And this time they do it the old-fashioned way. And the score, 15-12, 4:35 left in the half. The Pilots lead it. We'll be right back. So following that long kickoff return by Chris Smith, it's a 4-play, 11-yard drive. Takes a minute 55 off the clock. Favi with the 1-yard plunge, giving the Pilots a 15-12 lead. And here we go again, Bruce. The Dons trail, and it's their turn now.
It looks like it's just a matter of who has the ball as far as scoring is concerned.
Carrion takes it at the 5. Doesn't see anything. He's hit hard. Andrew Martinez hits Carrion hard at the 22-yard line. That's where the Dons will take over.
The Pilots are able to get down fast underneath the coverage there and make the stop. He didn't really have much running room at all, and they didn't seem to set up any kind of a wall. I'm surprised. You know, a lot of teams try to go up the middle. That's where they think they're going to break one because they're going to catch the coverage team asleep. I seem to think that if they ran, set up a wall and went up the sidelines, that they might break off more than they think they would.
4:14 left to go in the half. Hand off to Benbow. Benbow, nothing at the line, but he cuts it outside. And in on the stop, Tawan Hall. We've been calling Tawan's name pretty often here in this first half, having a good half out of his defensive end spot.
Well, Tawan Hall, as a matter of fact, Ken leads the team in tackles with 60 tackles during the course of the regular season. So he is clearly a force on their defensive line. And at 6'3", 225, you can understand why.
Gain of just 3 on the play for Benbow. Clock running at 3:40 now in the half. 15-12. Banning leads it. Hand off to Sharmon Shaw. And Shaw's hitting the backfield. Brandon Moore coming in from his safety spot, putting the goods on Hollywood Shaw.
Great defensive play by Brandon Moore. He did exactly what he had to do to come up and shut down the running game. He's 6'1", 185 pounds, and he leads the team in interceptions. So he's not only a ball hawk as far as the passing defense is concerned, but he's also, as he's just demonstrated there, somebody who can come up and make the stop when they're running the ball.
No gain on the play, 3rd and 7, exactly 3 minutes and a half. Marcel Myers at the bottom of your screen. Carry on, split out wide to the top. Williams has to scramble, and he's going to tuck it away and try to get the first down on his own. He does. He gets it by about 6 yards on the play. Damon Williams has had to scramble often.
Well, it looked to me like Nestor McKenna for the Pilots reached out and actually went down before he was able to get over there and make the stop. He just left his feet too soon because he might have been able to stop Williams and prevent him from making a first down.
Dorsey now with the ball on their own 38-yard line. 37.5. We're splitting hairs. We'll call it the 38. Shaw forms the eye with Benbow. Shaw with the handoff, and he slips again. Falling on top of him is Padilla. That's about the 4th or 5th time Shaw has slipped on this turf.
Yeah, he's still having trouble there. You know, when he stands up, it's hard to bring him down. But, boy, he's taken himself down, I think, more time than the Banning Pilots defense has.
Get a look at Brian Benbow's numbers. 5 carries, 47 yards. As we look at some of the backfield men for the Pilots. 2:19 left to go in the half. Banning leads at 15-12. 2nd and 9 now for the Dons. The big center, Henry Amos, over the ball. 5'11", 240. And this line doing the job. The Dons with almost 100 yards rushing here in the half. Running a post pattern, Antonio Carrion. He's open, and he's brought down at the 10-yard line. The Dons with another big play. Williams to Carrion.
Looks like Carrion's hurt on the play. He's down on the field. In that instance, it's just you give the quarterback that kind of time, and he's clearly going to be able to have the opportunity to complete the play. But I liked Carrion's reception. He had to turn. The ball was actually inside, and he was looking for it outside and was still able to make the reception. Almost looked like he took it down with one arm.
At Monday's press mixer, head coach of Dorsey, Paul Knox, just said it simply. Antonio Carrion's one of the best players we've ever had at Dorsey.
Yep, he's indicated that that's the case, and he's a great athlete. I mean, he's demonstrated that time and time again. I mean, he's 5'10" and only 160 pounds, junior, but he's got great speed and great quickness, and he has a real sense of where the ball's going to be. I think
as the trainers look at him, we'll get a report on him. We'll be right back after this pause. The Pilots lead at 15-12. Carrion being helped off the field. And Heather Hafner on the sidelines, we hope to get a report from her at the halfway mark of this game at halftime when she talks to Paul Knox. Get a prognosis on his injury. Sets his team up in great field possession with that catch and run.
Boy, if he's injured, though, and can't go back in the game, he's been a major factor so far in this game, and he's going to have it's going to be a big loss to the Dorsey Dons if he can't get back in there. It'll be interesting to find out what is in fact wrong.
1st and 10 for the Dons. Inside the 10, it's 1st and goal. And Sharman Shaw gets it inside the 5. It seems like Shaw and Hawkins are taking this game as a personal challenge to who is the better player, and both want to make that point known that that player is them.
Yeah, what's interesting about both of these backs, they can take it either inside or outside. They seem to have the strength and the power as well as the speed, because that's just a simple inside handoff right up the middle.
2nd and 4. We're at 1:05 in the half. Clock is running. Shaw has nothing at the line of scrimmage. He tried to turn it inside, but couldn't get anywhere. And Tawan Hall on the stop, as well as Jimmy Irby. So the defensive line for the Banning Pilots doing the job.
Yeah, I like the way Jimmy Irby stands in there and holds his ground and sheds off the blockers. And that's the key to playing defense. I mean, you've got to be able to shed the blockers in order to make the stop. And he seems to be able to do that. He doesn't get caught up in any dogfights at all.
53 seconds in the half. Dorsey calls a timeout to talk it over. They trail by 3. We'll be right back. We're back here at Murdoch Stadium. Sharman Shaw, 14 carries, 69 yards, averaging just under 5 a carry, has 1 touchdown so far. And wouldn't he and all of the Dorsey fans like to see the second touchdown of the afternoon on this play? 3rd and 4. Shaw does get the handoff, sees the corner, gets by Hawkins for the touchdown.
Well, they certainly had the blocks that they needed on the left side of the offensive line, Ken, and Sharman Shaw does what he's been doing so well throughout the course of his career and certainly this game. And he just took the handoff from the quarterback and just outraced the defenders to the corner, scored the touchdown, put the Dons ahead. This certainly is the classical seesaw battle.
Not really roundhouse punches from these two heavyweights, but a lot of, should we say, jabs. Moreno set to kick the point after touchdown. Sails through the uprights. It's good. So with 49 seconds left to go in the half, the Dons lead it 19-15. We'll be right back. We're back as the Dons take the lead by 4. They lead at 19-15, 49 seconds left to go in the half. An 8-play, 77-yard drive. Shaw goes in from 5 for his second touchdown of the game. The drive took 3:40. We've had a lot of quick, precise scoring drives that have a big play followed by a bunch of little plays and then the touchdown.
That seems just the way that the course of the game has gone. You know, this kicker's got leg strength here. I mean, if it comes down to a field goal in this game, he might be able to win the game for him.
Hawkins has to take it at the 5. He wanted the ball to go out of bounds, but it just wouldn't. He's dragged down at the 15-yard line by the Don special defense team, led by Cedric Brown. So Hawkins on that play was hoping the ball would bounce out of bounds, but it never did.
You can never do that. You just can't. It's not like waiting for a foul ball to cross the foul line. In that particular instance, that ball is a live ball, and you've got to be able to pick it up and go with it. And you can't sit there and watch that ball and hope that it's going to go out. Any kick return guy has to pick up that ball and go with it.
Pilots have 35 seconds. The clock is running to go 84 yards. Shazar Hawkins is dragged out of bounds at the 20-yard line. And who's leading the cheers now? None other than Dwayne Sanders, the big defensive end.
Yeah, that if you look at the size of both lines, it's clear that the Dons have an edge both offensively and defensively, Ken, because you go down that defensive line, you got Dwayne Sanders at 6'6", 230, Montario Witherspoon at 6', 220, and then Alan Moody at 6'3", 260. And they seem to certainly have the edge on as far as the size and bulk is concerned.
It's a timeout on the field. We'll be right back. Are we definitely going to Heather at halftime?
You need 46 yards.
Okay. We're back. 25 seconds left in the half. Bruce, you have a special announcement about Shazar Hawkins.
Well, it looks like, in fact, he got the 46 yards he needed to break Stanley Wilson's record for a single season, which is 1977.
The next yard will break the record, and guess what? He just lost the record. He's tackled for a 2-yard loss.
Well, I think maybe we jinxed him and probably shouldn't have said anything about it at that point.
You think the Don defense knew that?
I think the Don defense is just fired up. They seem to react according to how their offense does. And again, they've got that big defensive line.
Another timeout on the field. Heather Hafner, we hope to see her. We will see her at the half with Dorsey head coach Paul Knox. But right now we're going to take a short break with the score. 19-15, the Dons lead it. 19 seconds left in the half. We're back here at Murdoch Stadium, El Camino College. It's the 4A Los Angeles City Football Championships. We are almost halfway through the game, and it has been a wild game, I would say. A couple lead changes. The Dons lead at 19-15. Started out all Banning, then Dorsey took over. That's where we stand right now. The Dons with a 4-point advantage. 19 seconds left. It's a 3rd and long play for the Pilots. And the pass is going to fall incomplete at the 42-yard line. Winfred Samuels on the coverage. Samuels came out of the game earlier with a minor injury. He's back in the game.
He's back in, and there's no effect of that injury that he suffered because he's right on there in coverage. It's easy to understand why. In fact, he's got 4 interceptions over the season.
So that's going to bring up a punt now. 4th and 7, 14 seconds left to go in the half. It'll be interesting to see how these teams play it. Does Dorsey go for the block? They try to set up a return for a quick strike. What do they do, Bruce?
Well, I think that, you know, in this kind of a game, you got to be conscious of scoring at every opportunity that you can, and I think that they should probably set up for the return.
And Banning is concerned with what could happen as well. They used their last time out of the half. They do not want to make a mistake here at the end of the half. We'll take one more timeout before the half. 14 seconds left. It's still 19-15. We'll be right back.
Testing.
It's hard for me to, you know, to make a precise analysis.
Look at the quarterback comparison. Andre Favi, 1 of 4 for 2 yards. He has an interception, no touchdowns. But for Dorsey, Damon Williams, 2 for 6, 44 yards in the touchdown. Of course, he had that big 52-yard gain to Antonio Carrion out of the game with the injury. We hope to get a report on him before the second half starts. Punts away, and it's going to fall in front of Marcel Myers. Myers lets it drop. Going to be down now at the 46-yard line by Anthony Barragan. Excuse me, Damon Williams 3 for 7 for 96 yards in the half. A little correction there from Carl Hurt, the Statmeister. 2 seconds left to go in the half now. The big play capability is there for the Dons, but remember, they're missing Antonio Carrion, who left the game after that long reception 2 series ago.
We still don't have a report on him, and again, it's going to be, I think, a major factor as to whether or not he's going to be able to play in the second half.
It's going to be Kevin Rayburn and Marcel Myers, the wideouts. And that is the end of the first half of play. The score is 19-15. Let's recap the scoring before we go to Heather and Coach Knox. Hawkins with the 4-yard run gave Banning the lead. Then Shaw made it 8-6 with his 13-yard touchdown. Williams to carry on for 37 yards. The Dons led it 12-8. Favi went in from 1, gave Banning the 15-12 lead. And then Sharman Shaw gave the Dons the 19-15 lead, 49 seconds from the half with a 4-yard touchdown run. Now let's go down to the field with Heather Hafner and Coach Paul Knox.
Hi, this is Heather Hafner with Dorsey coach Paul Knox. Big first half for Dorsey so far. Some surprises for you?
No, they're doing about the same things we thought they'd do, and I think we're doing the same things they thought we'd do. It's just, you know, both teams are playing tough, so it's an exciting game right now.
There have been some big breaks on both sides of the ball, some fumbles, recoveries. You had an interception right after you fumbled down near your end line.
Right. You know, the team that makes the most mistakes is probably going to be in the most trouble here, and I think it's about even right now, and we're just fortunate to have a couple of big plays, and, you know, we hope we can sustain that in the second half.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half. On another note, Anthony Carrion is expected to return in the second half. He's got a sprained ankle, according to trainer Chip Dingman. He said that he'll probably come back in the second half. They're icing his ankle and are going to take it off coming out of the locker room. Back up to you in the booth.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Coach Knox. And so encouraging news for Don fans. Carry on a sprained ankle. They hope to get him back for the second half.
You know, sometimes a sprained ankle is worse than a break, though, Ken. I think that's a little bit optimistic to think that they can ice it down and wrap it up and get him back on the field. He certainly can't be as effective as he was in the first half.
We had an interesting first half. We hope to recap it after we take this short pause with the Dorsey Dons leading the Wilmington Banning Pilots 19-15. We'll be right back. Staley. We're back for the second half of action, but first, the first half stats.
Well, Kent, it looks like they Stats for each team: first downs, Banning had 5 and Dorsey 7. They're not much of a difference there. Rushing, we had 15 carries for 75 yards for Banning, 22 for 126 yards for Dorsey. Passing, 2 out of 4 for 24 yards for Banning, and for Dorsey, they completed passes for 96 yards. And total yards for Banning, 77 yards to Dorsey's 222. Penalties, Banning was 1 for 5 yards, and Dorsey was 2 for 20. And of course, the score as a result of the incredible lopsidedness on the statistics is Dorsey 19 and 15. And it's really a surprise, Ken, that actually that Banning's able to stay that close with the difference in the total yardage.
Well, their one scoring drive was an 11-yard drive after that long run back by Chris Smith. I think the key stat there is total yardage, 222 for the Dons. You mentioned in the last 2 playoff games, total, Carson and Kennedy had less than 200 yards.
They had 200 yards total in the last 2 playoff games. Banning held them, so it's really a change in this instance.
Okay, we'll be right back with the first half score again in the second half of action after this break. Dorsey leads at 19 to 15. Okay. Dons lead at 19-15 as we start the second half. And some interesting numbers at halftime for the big tailbacks.
Well, especially for Shazar Hawkins from Banning. He actually tied Stanley Wilson's single-season rushing record at one point in the game and then lost a yard, and he's got 10 carries for 45 yards, 4.5-yard average. And then Sharman Shaw, he's for Dorsey, he's got 14 carries for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's a 4.9 average.
And as we start the second half of play and Antonio Carrion does not come back, Hollywood Shaw will be called upon to do even more. So we'll keep track of that story for you. Shaw back at the 2-yard line. Benbow and Winfred Samuels, the up men at the 15. And the tight end, Michael Boston, the backup tight end, Michael Boston, stands at the 23. The crowds are back after that halftime break. We have had a very fair, a hard-hitting, an evenly matched first half. Just 4 points separate these two teams. Kickoff is going to bounce out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Benbow was the nearest Don to the ball, but it's going to go out of bounds, a 5-yard penalty.
You know, it's surprising to see that some of these high school teams don't have better special teams players because there's so much more of an emphasis on it now in the upper levels in college and professional sports. Football, and you think that as a consequence there would be more emphasis put on the special teams in the high school level. Field position is such an important part of the game, and certainly kickoffs is
we have a kickoff
an important
out of
element
bounds. On the kickers, it will be 5 yards and re-kick the ball.
So it's going to be Jaime Torres kicking off from the 35 this time. The chess pieces will move up 5 yards on the field. The Dorsey Dons, of course, wearing the dark green jerseys. The white letters are going to be going from left to right, going from right to left. The Banning Pilots wearing the white with the red numerals. 19-15, the Dons lead it. Coming to you from Murdoch Stadium in Torrance, California, on the campus of El Camino College, the City 4A Los Angeles Football Championships. The second half's underway. Shaw takes it at the 12. Shaw has some blocks, passes his wedge at the 36-yard line, tackled at the 37. Bringing him down was Junior Tagali.
Well, I saw a couple of Banning Pilots just kind of half-heartedly reach in to try and make the stop on Shaw when he was at the 30-yard line. You got to be a little bit more aggressive than that if you're going to play on the kick coverage team. That's something I think that you know you've got to be on